Good evening to you all out there. I see some of you still got to join us, but for those who have, welcome. Lovely to have you here at the Pick and Pay Winemakers Table this evening. So we're just going to wait for a few more people to join us, but hopefully you're all ready. Some of you I can see glasses already out and about. Fantastic. Right, a couple more still to join. So we're going to wait for everyone to get on, and then we'll give it the thumbs up, and then we'll start rocking and rolling. Right, so people are still coming on there. Right, please all keep your cameras on. I want to see your lovely faces as well. Very important that we get to see what you're doing and that you're following step by step and not going on your own little mission. And obviously all your mics will need to be muted as well, so we don't hear what's going on and all the jokes and the fun, unfortunately. We want everybody to hear, so we will mute your mics as you go. Hopefully your phones are ready as well, so we can take some wonderful pictures and we can post them to social media channels. Don't forget, tonight the hashtag is P&P Wine Club as well as Friars Cove. So take some pictures because there are some wonderful prizes for you through the evening. So please make sure you can do that. Right, I think we seem to have everybody on and ready to go. Anyway, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, as I said, to the Pick and Pay Winemakers Table. I'm Tjaart Walraven, your chef tonight, and not Jono. Jono's got a prior engagement, so I've stepped in as I am one of the friends of Pick and Pay, so it's wonderful to be here, and I hope you are ready for a fun night. I'm going to be doing the food component, and I'm joined by the lovely Liza Goodwin from Friars Cove, who's the general manager and winemaker, and by the sounds of it, wears many, many hats from Friars Cove. We're going to have a fun, interactive kind of evening. Please make sure now, a bit of housekeeping there, that you've got your oven, if you're using your oven on, crank it up to 180 degrees, 200 if you've got a slow oven. For those using an air fryer, it's one of those sort of instant worlds of magic, which is fantastic. So that just sort of gets on. And also we're going to have a bit of oil that needs to just tick over very gently as well. So please, will you get organized with a pan of oil just to warm that up so it doesn't take too long. If you're all organized and have done that, then great. So I'm just going to give everyone a moment or two before Liza does her introduction. So oven on at the ready to go if you're using an oven. For those using an air fryer, that's lovely and instant. I haven't quite got into that air fryer. Have you yet?
I have.
You have? Oh, an air fryer. Okay, so I'm the complete opposite. Not quite, but there's one in the house, but I don't use it too often. So oven on, and then get your oil in a pan, just on a lovely low heat, just to tick over, so we can get up to speed on that there. Fantastic. Right, I think I've spoken enough, but I look forward to talking a little bit more. But let me introduce you to the lovely Liza Goodwin, as I mentioned. Liza, welcome this evening, and welcome, and thank you for bringing some fabulous wines from Friars Cove.
Thank you very much, Tjaart, and thank you very much for inviting me to the Pick and Pay Winemakers Table. I'm really looking forward to showing you the Friars Cove wines, as well as tasting some of the snacks you're going to prepare for.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're going to have some wonderful snacks to go with some beautiful wines. Now, Friars Cove is sort of really coming out there, and I've got some certain characteristics, and particularly salty flavors, yes, which when you start thinking saltiness and wine, it's like, really, what's going on there? But I think it's something quite unique about the appellation of where Friars Cove is. But can you just give us an intro about what Friars Cove is and what you stand for and what you do there?
Okay. So Friars Cove is a small winery that started in 1999 by two young men. And they started off with Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir. And this winery is about 400 kilometers from Cape Town. So if you want to come and visit us, please stay on the N7 and turn off at Clave. Don't listen to Google Maps.
Okay, so don't listen to Google Maps. Right?
And the winery is in an old fish factory right next to the ocean. So it's literally, if I walk out of the cellar, it's 20 meters and I'm on the shore.
Okay, so hopefully the saltiness I'm talking about is not coming from the fish factory.
No,
that's long gone, right?
Yeah, so and the vineyard is about 8 kilometers away from the winery. So our vineyards is probably the closest to the cold Atlantic Ocean. In South Africa, it's about 500 meters away, planted from the cold Atlantic Ocean. And yeah, so we predominantly have Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir and a bit of Semillon there as well.
Okay, fantastic. And then obviously tonight we're going to be kicking off with a Sauvignon Blanc, then onto a Chenin.
And then a red blend, a Grenache Cinsault blend.
Okay, which is also very unusual. I mean, is that what your idea of Friars Cove wines are?
Yeah, so we want wines that showcases the area, the terroir, but also that's a light in style that goes with the whole West Coast feel, the coolness of the area as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's time to crack a bottle of wine here in studio, and I hope you have at home. But if you haven't, I think it's time to get the, some of you have, excellent. But for those of you who haven't, please, will you get your bottle of Sauvignon Blanc and pour yourself a good glass of that, because I think it's time to get going. I'm a little bit thirsty, a little bit parched. So please get your Sauvignon Blanc ready. Lovely to see you all pouring. Some of you very organized and got your glasses charged and all the rest of it. Fantastic. And some of you being very well behaved, very restrained as well, only drinking now. But it is, you know, certainly late after 12 somewhere in the world, so we can have an excuse. Anyway, let's pour yourselves a glass, let's charge it, and have a ching-ching. Ching-ching to you out there. Thanks for joining. And Liza, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Right, let's have a bit of a taste. Now, I've always said your first sip is always rather aggressive, so go on, have another. Right, alcoholics, stop now. Let's listen to Liza about what we're expecting with this Friars Cove Sauvignon Blanc. What do we got to pick up in terms of its style? What is it all about?
Okay, so because we're situated so closely to the ocean, our grapes tend to ripen very slowly, and that brings some very different fruit flavors to the wine from the cool climate. So in our Sauvignon Blancs, you tend to get a lot of what I call apple flavors and citrus flavors. So I predominantly would usually pick up Granny Smith flavors, lime, citrus notes as well, and a bit of guava in the background. So a bit of tropical fruit on there. Tropical fruits.
Fantastic. Well, let us know. You can certainly give us your sort of experience of what you're tasting, what you're picking up. Please pop those comments into the comment bar below. If you've got any questions, please also load those questions on as well. And we'll come to the end of the event and we'll answer all those questions for you as well. So, you know, we hope we've got lots of knowledge to share with you, but if you've got anything specific, please just type them in there. And the team behind the scenes will field that, and we'll answer those as we go through the evening. So back to that wine, and this is where, you know, I've known this with Friars Cove. There is a slight saltiness. I mean, I'd say because the vineyards are so close to the ocean.
We're about 500 meters away from the ocean, and we have predominant southwesterly wind blowing through the vines consistently. And in that wind, there's a lot of salt particles, and actually, as the wind goes through the leaves and the grapes, it deposits the salt onto the grapes. So when we pick the grapes, the salt comes into the cellar with the grapes. So, and it stays behind in the wine, and you can actually taste the saltiness, or we call it like a kelp character.
Kelp character. Kelp character, salty notes. Has anyone else got there? I'm having a look down our screen. Can anyone give us a thumbs up? Have you got the salty notes? Or are we all talking nonsense in the studio? Hopefully not. Yeah, I've got a few people nodding. It's definitely there. And I think it's wonderfully refreshing. I think certainly as we go into summer, it's a great wine to have as well. So yeah, I think you definitely got to, you know, stock up, you know, this Friars Cove, because it is a great wine. Okay, I think we've spoken enough about wine. It's time to feed the tummies. So you've probably got all your boxes of all sorts of bits and pieces. So please, we're going to take out your first one. That is going to be a brie tartlet with some dried brezola that we're going to do with that there. So for those of you who haven't unpacked, let's start unpacking that first box. I've got everything all done for me. So thanks to the wonderful Pick n Pay team of bringing all wonderful ingredients from Pick n Pay and obviously straight into your door. So you'll have a lovely little pastry tartlet already done for you. I mean, convenience at its best. You got a lovely little bit of brie cheese, some rosemary. You'll have a little bit of preserved figs, and then your brezola as well as a lemon. So those are the ingredients for this interaction. I'm going to be doing just one single portion, but everything is going to be doubled up in your boxes. So it's going to be feeding two of you as you go. So first things first is taking the pastry and opening up that little packet and pop that in front of you. So you want to open up your packet. You've got your little pastry dish. For those of you who are going to be using your oven, obviously you need your oven tray right now. For those of you using the magic of an air fryer, you just literally just pop them in and out you go. So that's pretty straightforward and easy. So get your oven tray for those of you going on using an oven, and then pop those onto there. To the pastry, we're going to take our brie cheese. So carefully unwrap this little gorgeous bundle of beautifulness and pop that into your tart. You might have to sort of, maneuver a little bit so it goes in there. You basically want this to start melting and sort of going into this lovely little pastry case and not all down the side. And that is your first step. That's very simple, very straightforward. So that's what you should have in front of you, as you can see on my screen, pastry tart base, and then your brie cheese popped onto there. Are we all familiar and happy with that? So we've got some recipes out, looking good. Like to see everyone's moved away from the very intense cameras. Now we can see everyone in their kitchen ready to go. Right, fantastic. You're all showing me your creations. So for those of you who got ovens, I'd like you to take your oven tray and pop it into your oven. It's going to take a couple of minutes. For those of you on the air fryer, take your lovely little dish and to your air fryer, pop that in to the middle there. And then let's put this on. And you want just a couple of minutes there. It's going to take 3 to 5 minutes. 180 degrees is all that you need. The cheese is lovely and soft as well. And I just want to sort of ooze and sort of, get really lovely and tender. And I think Sauvignon Blanc is one of those great wines that goes well with sort of creamy things like cheese. Lisa, do you agree with that?
Yeah, so what's interesting about Sauvignon Blanc and cheese is, so depending what type of cheese you have, I found with the soft white cheeses that it actually changes. If you have a sip of Sauvignon Blanc first and then taste the cheese, it actually sweetens up the cheese.
Okay.
On your palate. Yeah, so definitely has a huge influence, because obviously the wine changes the pH in your mouth. So when you taste the cheese, it's totally different from what you're expecting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think some lovely advice there with a lovely white cheese with the Sauvignon Blanc going to really go well. And talking about bringing some wonderful sort of sweeter flavors coming through. So I think everyone's up to speed. Your cheese should be in the oven or in the air fryer. Have another sip of wine. Why not? I mean, it's nearly the weekend already. So yeah, excellent. Oh, and I think it's wonderful saltiness. I'm really looking forward to that, because when it comes to wine and food pairing, you want the food component to stand on its own, as well as the wine component as well. You want the wine to complement in terms of its flavor profiles. We're talking sort of a wonderful saltiness in here, sharpness, lovely acidity in here. Then we pair it with something that's quite sweet, pastry being sweet, buttery, and then the sort of wonderful sort of luxuriousness that you get from brie cheese, quite rich, but a sweet profile. And you say it's going to elevate that sweetness. We talk about flavor profiles. We talk about sort of the complete opposites, usually sweet and sour. And sometimes you want to enhance either or both components, or go on the journey of the same profile. So sweet on sweet on sweet. And not because you're going to get sickly sweet at the end of the day, but it actually starts counteracting each other and brings out other components like saltiness, bitterness, and acidity as well. Right, I'm going to have a quick check at my little tartlet. And it's not quite there, but it's starting to blister. Oh, these machines are very quick and intense. What are you cooking here, Lisa? What's your sort of go-to to cook in the air fryer?
I do a lot of sweet potato chips and potato chips and pork rashes. I love pork rashes.
Oh, a good old pork rash. Oh,
it's even better than brine.
Really? Better than brine? Yeah. Oh, that's something to say for a South African, I have to say. For those who got some wonderful air frying experiences, do share it with us anyway. We'd love to always hear your stories as well. So for those of the air fry, it's going to be pretty quick and intense. For those of you that are in the oven, have a little peek as well. Maybe try not to open the oven and just check. You want this cheese just to start sort of oozing and melting. But then as it carries on, what I want you to do is then take your little bag of figs that you've got. So lovely preserved figs and your scissors, and you can just sort of nip the packet open. And then very carefully, I'm going to use my knife because I want to get sort of sticky fingers, and just fish out your bit of fig there. So fish out your little fig and pop that onto the table. I'm going to have a quick squeeze again here as well. A little bit longer, a couple of minutes. So fig onto your chopping board. And for those of you chopping up your wine, fantastic. Lovely to see. All right, so whilst it's in the oven, your fig on the chopping board, and then I'd like you to cut that in half, please. So just cut that into half. If you want to get really fancy, you can cut into 3. You know, lots of smaller little portions is all right as well. But cut that into half, and we're going to pop that into your tartlet just now. So that is your preserved fig. Fresh figs, if you can get them in season when they're in Pick and Pay, by all means, please use fresh figs as well. But I think this real sweetness works well with the acidity and the sweetness of the wine as a whole. So we've got that on the ready. Whilst we're also carrying on here, we can open the packet for your Brezola. So there's a lovely bit of dried meat, wonderful earthy umami flavors coming through. And what we want to do is just open that up and then place that onto your chopping board as well. So really important in the kitchen is you have all your components ready, and then you can assemble it like a conveyor belt, whether you're doing 5 portions, 20 portions, 200 or 1,000 portions. You work like a conveyor belt. I suppose in like winemaking as well, you got to sort of do each process step by step.
Yes.
There's no sort of, you know, do a bit of this,
No,
bit of that.
you can't fool around these. You have to follow certain steps, otherwise you will end up with not such a good wine.
That's such a good wine. Okay, so very methodical on that there. Right, let's have a look. So keep having a pop. Oh, now we're talking. Oh, this is looking gorgeous. Right. So get your tongs out of your air fryer, and then you can take out your lovely little morsel. Oh, how fabulous does that look?
It's
so
delicious.
You just want it to start melting and oozing away, looking lovely and luscious. Oh, there is nothing better than the smell of cheese just melting away. So that's the stage you want to get to, everybody, is let's get your cheese tarts out the oven or out the air fryer, hopefully, and in front of you. Right, I'm just going to pop this out the way very quickly. Okay. All right, so we're all looking good. So all our components ready. Fantastic. We've got everything out the oven, everybody. We all seem to be sitting down, relaxing, which is fantastic. Okay, so from there, I want you to take your lovely bits of fig and nestle them either side. And remember, you've got to be sort of slightly artistic, that it sort of stick out, be a little bit fun and funky as well. And then your lovely little bit of Brezola, I'd like you to tear that into strips, and you can sort of put little sort of hunks of it here and there and everywhere. What's really important with any bit of food is you want to have the entire experience. A bit of the fig, a bit of Brezola, a bit of the pastry, a bit of the cheese, every mouthful of the way to really work and enhance with the wines. That's really important. So tear this up and then just sort of pop that into there. Oh, fabulous. Look at this. Tuck a little bit underneath there. Right, so the fig Brezola onto that cheese. Just be careful, it might be quite hot. I think you're all doing a marvelous job as you go. Are we looking good? And then one of your last ingredients, or second last ingredient in your bag, is a sprig of rosemary. And just open that up. So open up your sprig, if I can. I'm going to use my knife to open it. So let's open that up, and of course a little bit of a garnish, or what we term as the industry as a pluche to go on top, just to sort of, you know, finish that off so beautifully. Wonderful earthy herbaceous note, which I think is a herbaceous note I find with a Sauvignon Blanc, Lisa. Don't you agree?
There is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I call it fynbos.
Fynbos, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fynbos around our area, especially around the vineyards, and that it seems like the flavor actually pulls into the.
Okay, so you got a double combination, yes. The fynbos and the ocean,
yes,
plain in there. Fantastic. And then lastly is taking your microplane grater. I always find this by the bathroom or by the bath.
Sure.
Right? It's perfect for your feet. No, I'm joking. No, don't. But like lovely little microplane grater. And what I want you to do is just grate a little bit of lemon zest on top of that for freshness. So if you think of the whole canapé in itself, we've got the pastry, rich, buttery, the cheesiness, obviously, it's soft, it's melty, it's gooey, the freshness coming through from the rosemary and the lemon zest, and a wonderful sort of earthy note coming with the Brezola, and that fig bringing a wonderful sort of sweetness. And that is your first canapé done. So let's pop that onto your little presentation board that you got in your boxes. And come on, you know, be foodies, be winos, set your little canapé up with your glass of wine, or even better, the Friars Cove bottle. And please take pictures and please post them online, because tonight you can win 300 rands worth of smart shopper points, which we can credit to you. And we want you to hashtag P&P Wine Club as well as hashtag Friars Cove. And we'll select at the end of the evening the winning dish to receive that prize. So please get your cameras out, start snapping away at your wonderful creation, and have a look see. So that is your little morsel all in one, which I think, you know,
looks mouth-watering.
Yeah.
I can smell the cheese and the lemon zest, like blending.
Well, and again, lemon zest not a big one to go with wine. It's, you know, over the years, it's sort of, you know, stay away from lemon and salt. But I think it works very well.
Very well.
And it depends on the style of wine that you,
especially with this type of Sauvignon Blanc that also has those citrus notes in it.
Yeah,
it actually complements.
Yeah, so lots of complementary flavors and all the rest of it that you can get. So that's your canapé, which I think it's time to sort of enjoy that combination before we move on to the next one. So please take pictures. Please get creative with that there. And yeah, as I said, please start you know, tagging us as we go, because we want to see those wonderful creations. And I think it's time to just, you know, enjoy it. Liza, in terms of, you know, Friars Cove, what else is there sort of on offer at the estate that you do?
So we've got the winery in the old fish factory, but we've also got a beautiful tasting room that we revamped last year, that we opened in December. And you can actually see a part of the wine cellar from the tasting room. And we've got a massive fish tank inside the tasting room.
Ironically, yeah.
It's about 6,000 liters in size. So we pump fresh seawater through it all the time. So we've got live animals from the cold Atlantic Ocean that swims in this fish tank. But we also are storing 600 bottles of Sauvignon Blanc in that tank. So we're actually maturing some of our white wines in that tank to see what will happen in a year's time.
Oh, how fantastic. How interesting is that?
And it's beautiful because there's already little shells growing on it, and
fantastic.
Kelp and everything.
Well, what a story to look forward to in about a year's time, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So wine that's been put into the ocean, basically, in essence, underwater, and I think it is a bit of a movement that's coming. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to sort of compare notes with that there. Yeah. Right, I think we're all up to speed with eating and drinking. So for those of you who haven't, I'm sure you're up to speed now. Look at some of you are eating already, which is fantastic. So enjoy that mouthful. So what you want to do, take a sip of your wine, obviously swallow that down, and then take a bite into your canapé and enjoy those wonderful flavors that you get coming through, that whole combination, and then finish eating, and then please don't cement mix. It does make a whole different experience. And then have another sip of wine, and I think you're going to see all those wonderful sort of layers starting to cut through and break away. So yeah, I think you're going to really get that elevation, you know, coming through. Yeah. So take that. I'm going to break this up. Come on, let's just, you know, break this up here as well, Liza. Let's feed you along the way here, and let's sort of enjoy that wonderful combination. Oh, lovely crispy pastry. Here we go. How about that?
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me, make a mess. If not, why not? So, wine, food. The food component should stand on its own. The wine component should stand on its own. It'll be a beautiful marriage. We're interested to see what flavors you're picking up, or, you know, what is enhanced. How does the wine change ever so slightly? How does it complement the food? And how does the food actually complement the wine as well? So Liza's here recommended that, you know, there's going to be some wonderful sweeter notes coming through, which will sort of start picking up, you know, sweeter notes in the wine, probably more of the berries, the sort of you're talking about apples that we're to get in here. Yeah. What are the other fruits? Just remind us, Liza.
So I get lots of apples. I get some citrus notes, some lime, and also a bit of guava in the background, a bit of tropical fruits in there as well.
Oh, lots of tropical flavors. So I think going well with the figs at the end of the day. There's sort of wonderful tropicalness kind of thing to it.
So it's interesting when you first taste the wine, and then you have a bite of the tart, and then you taste the wine again, and it's two different flavors on the wine. It's quite amazing. Yeah.
Okay, I've tried to taste them. Let's see what you're talking about.
The wine actually also comes through as sweeter as well.
Oh, yes.
It's much more fuller on the palate.
Much fuller. It's almost become what I always term like a foodie wine. It's coming into its own.
So it actually, the combination of the Sauvignon Blanc with the Tjaart is actually perfect because it complements the wine.
Yeah.
The food.
It certainly does. But it's amazing how it just changes so slightly. But you say those fruity notes really start to sing from the wonderful sweet flavors of the cheese, the pastry, the sweetness of Brazola, but still some earthy notes to it. But there's also an acidity or I don't want to say the word bitterness. It's not bitter, but the acidity really starts to sing, but it's got some real depth and body to it.
It does. And it also cuts through some of the creaminess that of the cheese.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's one thing with wine and food is you really want to, if you've got something fatty, be it a risotto or even oysters and things, you really want to cut through those layers of fat so your palate is lovely and clean, ready for your next mouthful or your little morsel along the way. So whilst you're enjoying that, if you can sort of glance across to your pan of oil and just sort of get that on the rise and start heating that up a little bit more. So get your oil up onto a higher heat. Let's get that nice and warm, ready for our next one, but still enjoy your eating and drinking experience. I think we all seem quite happy. We're all looking very confident. Some of us getting a few bits and pieces out. Fantastic. Right, we're all ready to move on, are we? Yep. Okay. Oh, a lot of people outside as well, guys. Oh, fantastic day out there. You all outside enjoying the incredible weather. Lovely to see. All right, I think we're done with our one there. So let's move on to our next one. So let's get our box of ingredients out, everybody. So your next box of ingredients, you should find a packet of pompadons. You'll find a lovely little jar of mild sweetened curried onions, some coconut flakes, sultanas, and then a lime as well. So those are your ingredients for your next one. And obviously your oil in the background is getting lovely and hot. I'm working on induction, so it's going to be super, super fast, nice and quick, but make sure yours is on. So pan, little frying pan, quite a bit of oil in there. We're going to sort of just fry it off very, very quickly, but you need to be organized with that. And then I'll come to the other components of being organized just now as well. So we've all got our bits and pieces I can see out there. Fantastic. And Lisa's one step ahead in the kitchen here as well. It's then also time to get your next bottle out, ladies and gentlemen, which is a lovely Chenin Blanc, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, yep. So it's our 2022 vintage. So this was the second year that we started making Chenin Blanc. And for me, it's a beautiful grape to work with, very easy. But and you get so many different types of Chenin Blancs that you can make. So our style is quite light, but light in style, not as heavy as some of the Chenins that you find nowadays in South Africa.
Sure.
But we still use some wood. We use old 300-liter French oak barrels. So I only use about 30% oak in the wine, and it's all old barrels. And I use natural fermentation, and that gives a different depth to the wine's nose and the palate. And then the other 70% I do tank fermentation, but there I use a selected yeast. And then only afterwards I will blend the two together and bottle it.
Oh, that sounds really interesting for a Chenin Blanc. So let's charge your glasses with a Chenin Blanc if you haven't done so already. A few of you running around, a few of you topped up glasses. Fantastic. So let's get your Chenin Blanc charged. We're all ready with our Chenin Blanc. Oh, we're looking confident, some of us. Love the flurry, and some kitchens are very composed, very together. Can't you see, Lisa?
I can see.
Yeah, very interesting. Oh, the different dynamics of life. Fabulous. Right, your Chenin Blanc, everybody. Let's be slightly sophisticated and have a bit of a nosy. And ching ching to Friars Cove Chenin Blanc. So, Lisa, give us a bit of an intro. What should we be smelling, and then what should we be tasting?
Okay, so on this Chenin Blanc, I pick up a lot of stone fruit, like dried apricots, peaches, and this is very typical of a Chenin Blanc, of a fruity Chenin Blanc. But it's also got a nice mouthfeel that's full and round. So the acidity is not as high as in the Sauvignon Blanc. So it actually coats the inside of your mouth. So it gives the sensation of a much fuller wine with a high alcohol, although it's not.
Okay, all right. So you know, obviously talking alcohol, you made a mention of it. Is it, you know?
No, it's not high. It's only 13%.
Okay, 13%
yeah.
on that there. And Chenin Blanc, I mean, it's really sort of making its sort of way in South Africa. People loving to enjoy it.
Yes, I think Chenin Blanc is like the fashion white wine at this stage.
Okay,
yes. Yeah. So I can remember when I started making wine, it was Sauvignon Blanc was the big thing.
Yes.
And then it was Chardonnay, and now it's Chenin Blanc. So it looks like there's a cycle.
Okay. We as South Africans, we still drink more Sauvignon Blanc than Chenin Blanc.
At this stage, yes, it's still the one that sells the most, although there's a big shift towards Chenin Blanc.
Okay.
Which is interesting. People are, it seems for me that people are preferring wines that is not as high in acidity and that's got a lot of fruit on the nose palate. And at this, the South African Chenins do tend to have a lot of fruit on the nose and the palate.
Yeah. Well, I think certainly lots of those lovely fruity flavors coming through, but quite light, but still a bit of body and character. Anyway, let us know in your comment bar if you've got any questions on the Chenin Blanc. Liza will happily answer these at the end of the session. So type away and let us know, or if you know, picking up some interesting flavors, would love to hear what you think is happening on your palates, because everybody's so different. We're trying to obviously find a happy medium. We follow certain rules that do work in the food and wine world, of what works together and obviously what doesn't at all. But I think a great Chenin Blanc, and again, saying refreshing. Yes. You know,
it's not heavy, so it's nice and light on the palate, and it's got a nice acidity to it. It's not too high. It doesn't cut through everything. It coats your mouth beautifully.
Yes, beautiful coat. That mouthfeel, I think, is wonderful. And it's not like, you know, when you go to a Chardonnay where it's really full on the mouth. But there's sort of, I think, in between, and it's a great match of, if you're wanting a bolder wine, Chenin Blanc is a great one to go for. In terms of production for you at Friars Cove, where is Sauvignon Blanc still obviously a leader in the
so we specialize in Sauvignon Blanc, and then we started with Chenin Blanc 2 years ago. And then obviously the Pinot Noir that's also an old favorite, and then the Grenache Cinsault, that's also a relatively new wine that we started. But the Chenin Blanc is quite young.
It's quite young, yeah. Well, I think and should we, you know, talking of young, should our wines be drunk young? What is your sort of feeling or ethos on that? I know, you know, obviously how long that piece of string as well, because depending on what you're making. But your Friars Cove, let's talk in particular with our wines that we're trying tonight. Are we supposed to drink them young? Must we keep them for a little bit? What is your recommendation?
The Friars Cove range, you can start drinking young, but we do have a very low pH in our white wines with a slightly higher acidity than normal. And that helps the wines to age much longer. So we are very fortunate in that way, because we're so close to the ocean. We tend to have, our acidity tends to be a bit higher than the warmer areas in South Africa. And that helps you to keep the wines over a much longer period.
So these wines you could, you know, drink 2-3 years very comfortably.
I would say easily up to 5 years.
Up to 5 years.
Yes, if you store it in perfect conditions.
Okay. So anyway, a couple of years. So some interesting information with wine there for those that want to keep wine. It's always great to, you know, buy a couple of bottles and stock up along the way and sort of enjoy them, and I think get to experience them as the years progress, because they do change.
They do develop.
Quite a lot. So. Fantastic. All right, so that's your Chenin Blanc sort of lineup that we've got there. So let's go on to the food component for our next little canapé. Please keep an eye out for the oil that is on the stove there. You don't want that too hot. Please don't use your finger to check if it's very hot or anything like that. I'll show you a little tip just now of what to do. But in terms of ingredients, you've got all those ready. I'm going to have mine brought to me in front here. And I think it's time to test the oil. And the best way is take your Pompadour and open up that packet. So just tear that open, your little Pompadour packet. And the best way to test your oil is just break off a little sort of little ear of that and pop that into your oil and see if it's got a bit of a sizzle and a rizzle and a razzle and a dazzle and all the rest of it. Pop that in, and it should start to really sort of blister and go mad, fast, furious. But mine's definitely not there yet, so I'm going to crank mine up a little bit here. But you definitely want it hot. You don't want the Pompadour to absorb all this sort of fatty oiliness at the end of the day, because I mean that's going to sort of change the profile of the dish. If you actually think of it, it's quite crisp and clean with a little bit of light oiliness coming from the frying of the pompadour. But let's get ready with your pompadour. Also, next to you, next to your pan, you need to have an oven dish or a plate with a bit of kitchen towel just to drain off the excess oil as well. So have that at the ready. So all your components, oil, lovely and hot. Should have a tray with your paper towel just to drain off that excess. Hopefully your chopping board's lovely and clean and ready to put your dish together. So all the components out, everyone's action stations. I just love watching it. It's like so interesting. Like everybody's sort of all intense in there, and then everyone like disappears into the kitchen, starts doing little bits and pieces. It's like a little sort of flurry of activity in some of the kitchens. And it's wonderful to see everybody so organized and ready for the next one. Don't forget to keep drinking, keep swirling. Swirling a big thing for you in appreciating wine, Liza. What's your thoughts?
Yes, I think it's such a thing with winemakers. If you actually socialize with winemakers, they will constantly swirl their glasses. Yeah. It's just a thing that we do.
Okay.
I don't know why, but we just do it all the time.
And do you believe it's important to experience the wine like that as well, to sort of elevate the flavors?
It does open up the wine, but you can also just leave the glass for like 5 minutes. So when I poured the wine was very close. And after 5 minutes, it's already opened up nicely. But by just swirling it a few times, it also just pops up.
Okay. All right. So another interesting little tip from the winemaker: swirl it if you want to, or just leave it for a couple of minutes. I don't think many South Africans have too much patience for a couple of minutes to wait for wine to air. But I mean, actually, there's bigger, bolder characteristics coming through, more of the woodier notes.
And also a lot of other fruit flavors coming through that I'm picking up now. Yeah. Like a bit of pear as well.
Yes, a deeper, darker kind of fruit as well. All right, so hopefully everybody's oil. Can we just sort of have a general thumbs up? Is everyone's oil hot, ready to rock and roll? Or we're going to check. Some of you are still drinking. Yeah, some of you are waiting a little bit longer. Oh, new faces joining us. There we go. Fantastic. Right, so what you want to do is once your oil's lovely and hot, very carefully, and always when working with oil, is place the item in and away from you, not towards you so it splashes, or rather it splashes away from you. I remember working in a fancy kitchen many years ago. The kitchen was always clad every day in tin foil, because they're actually a tempura restaurant. They used to sort of throw things into the fryer. And sort of used to go up the wall. Yeah. But now then it goes up the tin foil. You just pull the tin foil down and done. Yeah. All right. So oil nice and hot. And in terms of oil, by the way, it should be peanut or sunflower oil, a non-flavored oil. Olive oil you could use, but not ideal because it doesn't get up to temperature enough. I want this at 180 degrees in temperature. You start to get denatured with olive oil, and it's got a flavor profile as well. So go for your sunflower, peanut oil, or grape oil if you can get. We actually don't get much grape oil in this part of the world. And actually odd because we have so many, grape seeds and everything left over that we actually just sort of chuck out.
It's quite a complicated process. I mean, the seeds are so small, so you can imagine how much seeds you must collect just to get a bit of oil. And it's expensive. Yeah. It's very expensive.
So no seasoned oil. Anyway, I'm going to take my pompadour. I'm going to pop this into here, and very quickly, it's going to hopefully sort of frazzle up. One there, and then, there we go. That's what we're talking about. And then once it's sort of done a split, you can turn it over if you need to, depending on how much oil you've got in your pan. Just to sort of fry off a little bit. And then take that, drip off the excess oil, and then straight onto your bit of towel. Simple, quick and easy. And then let's just sort of switch that off. And that's now done. So very quick, very easy. Please be very careful. Just take your time with it and don't rush deep frying your lovely little pompadour. And that's what you end up with. Pompadour, well drained, is obviously going to have a slight bit of oiliness, which we want, but not too much. So very important, goes onto that kitchen paper and just drains off there. So once you've got that and it's drained off, then you can bring your pompadour, pop it onto your little chopping board in front of you. And again, we're going to work in a sort of a conveyor belt fashion as we go. So everyone ready out there? We're looking ready like Freddie. Yeah, a few of you still frying, which is okay. I'll give you a couple of seconds to get that done. But let's have your pompadour at the ready, and then all your other components. So for those of you who are ready, let's open up your ingredients, and let's open that packet of toasted coconut flakes. Actually really struggling to open packets today. This was a bit crazy, but anyway.
Can I help you?
You can do that one, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, teamwork makes the dream work. So let's just sort of open that up a bit.
Okay.
Oh, I'm really getting...
You go?
Thank you.
Do that.
No, I've done it. I've done it now.
Okay.
All right. So take your pompadour there. I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller, just so it's in proportion. And then I want you to then take your onion and sort of curry that we've made for you. And I want you to just take that and spoon a little bit of that onto your pompadour. So pop that into the center so it nestles and cradles there ever so beautifully. So that is your lovely little mixture. And then you're going to sprinkle that with your wonderful bit of coconut flakes. Oh, very, very tropical. But you said there's tropical sort of flavors in the wine as well. Did you say, Lisa?
No, not more.
Not too many tropical flavors.
No, not a lot of tropical flavors.
Okay.
It's more stone fruit for me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
where that's stone fruit, that's where we're going to get these sort of flavors coming through from the sultanas, the raisin flavors. And then to your raisin flavors as well. All right, so raisin flavors as well. So layer all that up. Oh, it's just like sort of sprinkling things as we go. And then what we're going to do is want you to take a cheek of lime. So taking your little knife and taking a little wedge of lime, if you like, and you can pop that onto the side and then transfer that to your presentation plate. And that's what that little canapé should look like, ladies and gentlemen, which I hope it is back home. Is it? Yes, no? And don't forget, again, take some pictures of your wonderful creations. Don't forget to hashtag us, P&P Wine Club, hashtag Friars Cove, to get those smart shopper points, which all go a long way when we get back into our local Pick and Pay grocery store. So that is our lovely little canapé done and dusted. Very simple, very straightforward. And then to enjoy that, take your cheek of lime, give it a little bit of a squeeze on top, just like that. And there is ready to eat and drink. So acclimatize your palate, taking your glass, a bit of a swirl, bit of a taste. Oh, any nice little party notes on your Chenin Blanc that you'd like to add, Lisa? I think it's some, that'd be interesting to see.
You can actually start picking up the barrel components coming through now.
Yeah.
Which gives it a bit of a spicy note in the background. And I think that will actually accentuate the dried raisins, or the raisins, yeah.
The raisins, so that's what we're talking about. Yeah. So yeah, let's dig it out to everybody. Let's get stuck in. Let's eat and drink. Oh, lovely. Oh, and then have a bit of a taste. I think some wonderful sort of flavors, you know, coming through. Lots of those fruity notes, and certainly those sultanas picking up there.
I love the curry that's coming through on it.
Absolutely.
Stunning.
And for those of you at home that, you know, don't have pompadours, oh, I can't find them, whatever, a good old Pringle chip will do the magic. Or, you know, you can imagine, you know, any other sort of flavor crisp that you've got there. Keep it simple and plain, but they just do the job in here. This is all about texture. It's the carrier, it's the vessel for the actual dish itself there. So don't be sort of, you know, say, oh, I can't do this anymore because you're limited with your ingredients. No, you're not. Pick n Pay's got a host of ingredients, and a good old Pringle chip will do the trick as well. So how was all that? So we got some thumbs up from people to enjoy that wonderful experience of a mild curry with a Chenin Blanc, which I think is a great combination. And it's vegetarian as well. I know we sort of, you know, very typically eat lots of meat in this part of the world, but a bit of chicken I think would go beautifully with that. A bit of fish,
very
actually.
nice, yeah. And I like the smokiness that's coming from the coconut as well.
Yes, well, that's starting to pick up. So it's actually interesting. We're not getting the tropical side, we're getting the smokiness or the toastedness that we get coming from that, which I think, you know, also works very nicely. So go on, everybody, enjoy that lovely little morsel of that canapé with a Chenin Blanc. I think Chenin Blanc's a great wine. I really enjoy it. Out of the white wines, dare we ask a winemaker what would be their sort of favorite white? What's your favorite white wine or varietal? Should I say?
Obviously, Sauvignon Blanc.
So, okay,
it's not even debatable.
Okay, Sauvignon Blanc. flat out right.
Yeah.
You'll quaff that
Yes.
any day of the week.
Any day of the week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we have it. Good old Sauvignon Blanc. But I think this is a great one to enjoy, certainly with food as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that wonderful combination of curry and pompidom. And I think there's lots of alternatives with that there. There's lots of wonderful ingredients you can get that you can add to it. And don't be forced when it comes to food and wine that you've got to stick with the same, components. Change it up. If you can't get something, really mix it up. There's no sort of right and wrong with a lot of things. I know you're going to have to block your ears for this, but I mean, for those of you, enjoy, ice in your wine, if it's going to make you enjoy it a lot better, then do it. Who we to judge at the end of the day.
I have ice with my wine sometimes.
Oh, yeah, there we go. The winemaker has.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think it's an issue if you enjoy it. Pop it in as well. So I trust you've enjoyed that experience. We're also busy chatting. Some of you, some wonderful groups, to the groups that are out there tonight. Thanks for joining us. Sort of double dates or double friendships going out there. Lovely to have you. But that is our second little morsel done and dusted, which I trust you have enjoyed. All right, enough about white wine and other things. It's on to sweet and decadence. And for those who know me from that baking show, obviously I've got a lovely baking dessert for you a bit later, but I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the wine that we're going to be having just now from Friars Cove. So let's get your bottle of red out and some glasses. So we don't always have clean glasses. I know we're on the studio. We've got some wonderful clean glasses for every little morsel. But let's get your next set of glasses out and pour yourself a glass. It was a Grenache
Cinsault blend.
A Grenache Cinsault blend. Oh, now Cinsault actually is lovely on its own. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I particularly enjoy a Cinsault, a straight Cinsault. And a Grenache as well. Grenache, I think, is a wonderful variety.
Wonderful variety.
Yeah.
And in the blend, they're actually also a perfect match.
Oh, I think a blend. I'm looking forward to trying this. So, charge your glasses, everybody. And before we have a rundown, let's have a taste. Why not? The evening is wearing on. So, cheers to this beautiful blend from Friars Cove. Oh, that's quite different. So, go on. Liza, tell us about this.
Okay, so I should have actually said it right in the beginning, but I prefer to serve this wine slightly chilled.
Okay.
Because that actually accentuates the raspberry flavors in the wine. So the raspberry flavors are coming from the Grenache side.
Okay.
And as the wine warms up in the glass, there's some spicy notes coming through from the Cinsault, variety.
Okay. Okay. So the Cinsault is bringing the spicy notes. The Grenache is bringing
the red fruit flavors, the red berries.
Okay.
So this wine always reminds me of fizz pop. The fizz pops we had as kids.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. All right.
The sherbet.
Fizz pop sherbet kind of experience. So go on. Let's see if we picking up that sort of sherbet, wonderful sweetness. I think this is definitely a wine chilled that is worth doing. So for those of you who love to drink red wine, certainly on a hot summer's day, I think this is a great go-to. From
perfect,
your Grenache, your Cinsault, your Pinot Noirs, and things like that.
Yeah.
Great ones to use and enjoy certainly at this time of year.
So we actually have a seafood restaurant at our winery as well, and our seafoods are designed around these wines, and you can actually have this red wine with seafood because it's light enough to not overpower the flavors of the seafood that we serve at our restaurant.
Oh, well, I think gone are the days of it's white fish, white meat, red wine. I think we have some great ingredients out there. Like certainly a gamey fish goes beautifully with a lighter style red wine. So again, change it up, and even for a steak on the braai at 1 o'clock on a summer's afternoon. You want a beautiful Chenin or a Chardonnay or something to go with it. So don't stick to the traditional things that we've all been taught in society from the last 20 odd years. Things are very different, but that with a bit of fish, I think will be
perfect. So we also our winery is actually right next to an abalone farm, so we do a lot of pairings with abalone, which is the most amazing product to work with.
Well, they're saying to look out to, but I'm certainly not giving you abalone tonight. But I am going to give you a lovely chocolate brownie. So what I want you to do is get your last and final box out and ready. And what you should have is a chocolate brownie that we're going to cut in half for 2 people. We've got a lovely raspberry coulis. You're talking about raspberry in the wine, which is fantastic. Yeah. Some lovely spicy nuts to go with that, and then some dehydrated edible flowers. And it's going to be very simple and straightforward. So I'd like you to take your brownie and open that up, please. And let's get that out. Oh, it's lovely and soft and gooey and all the rest of it. Hopefully you got your knife close to hand. I'm just going to give mine a bit of a wipe here as well. So what you need to do is take your brownie and cut that in half. You can be chefy if you want and cut it on the diagonal, so you end up with 2 triangles. You can cut into squares. You can do what you like. You can cut into lots of little smaller pieces. And then I'd like you to take the raspberry coulis that we've got, little piping bag, and just nip off the end just so everything can come through. And then all you want to do is take one. I'm going to put mine straight onto my presentation plate here. Just do it in front there. We'll be chefy here. We can Pay Wine Club to be part of it. And then I want you to drizzle that lovely little raspberry coulis over it. I think you've got a little piping bag per person. And just allow that to drizzle over. We've got that for the camera. There we go. That's all that we need to do. Oh, look at that. What you can see, I can see in front of me. Wonderful. That's there. And then taking your nuts. And then, let's just take those out. Just scatter a couple of nuts on top there. You can chop them up if you really want to, but you know, we are South African after all. We love everything hearty, big, bold, and beautiful. So a little sprinkling of nuts and then some dehydrated flour. So take any edible flowers. You can dry them on a low oven at 90 degrees at home. Dry them out in the oven for 2 hours, and there you've got them, and they'll keep forever in a glass little jar. And sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle on top. And how beautiful does that look? But again, how simple is this as well, which I think is very important. So there's a simplicity of a lovely chocolate brownie with a raspberry coulis, and that's it. I mean, done.
Sounds so good.
There. Well, I think it would work very well. So whilst we field for you a couple of questions, hopefully, take some last pictures as well. And don't forget to hashtag PNP Wine Club and hashtag Friars Cove. We're looking forward to giving you some smart shopper points. So that wonderful picture that wins tonight, we'll be in touch with you to award you with those wonderful extra bit of bucks at the end of the day in some form or another that you can shop at Pick n Pay. But I think 3 wonderful canapes that we've put together with 3 beautiful wines from an area that we don't always, know. So remember, up N7. So if you're going to Namibia, you definitely have to stop by at Friars Cove.
We're halfway between Cape Town and Namibia.
There we go. Halfway point between Cape Town and Namibia. So for those of you traveling up that neck of the woods, I think it's certainly worth
perfect just for sleep over and have a visit to our winery.
Yeah. And do you have accommodation on the farm or not yet?
So we have a lot of Airbnbs in that area, and also there's a nice place to stay in Durban Bay itself, where the winery is. Yeah.
So in Durban Bay, there you have it. All the information from there. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Well, I trust you've all enjoyed that. We might have a couple of questions. We've got some questions coming up. And hopefully we're going to select a winner, take last pictures, and have a bit of a try of that combination of that. Go on, Liza, I'm sure we're going to still keep feeding you here.
Thank you.
All right, have a little taste of that little combination of the 2 together. Oh, I'm losing half of it on the set here. That's okay. Oh, yes. Oh, nothing like fresh raspberries and things like that. And have a bite. Chocolate, raspberry, Grenache, Cinsault. I think great.
Love these 2 varietals.
Well, it's been fantastic having you. Thank you
very much.
Cheers there. Cheers to you all. Let's start eating and drinking some more, and let's be merry. I think it's absolutely important to enjoy that combination. Lots of happy faces I can see there as well. Oh, yes. Ooh. But now sort of almost the sweetness is just
it's vanished, but it's bringing out the
acidity,
the smokiness of the nuts.
Of that.
It's bringing that out as well.
I think what a great combination. Right, so we've got the magic of the team behind the scenes, and we've got winners for our Smart Shopper points. And the winners are Kerry Trainer, Diane Black, and then Sean and Kerry. So you guys Kerry Trainer, Diane Black, Sean and Kerry. Always a few clapping hands and all the rest of it. Thank you very much for participating in that. We'll get in touch with you and get those Smart Shopper points across to you as well. But in your goodie bag, don't forget also you had a lovely little voucher, which is available only online. So I suggest you get shopping online at Pick n Pay and get, Friars Cove delivered to your door and enjoy it for the weekend. I mean, I think some fantastic wines, unusual aerial appellation if you want to be really, fancy, but I think some fantastic, components. And I trust you've all enjoyed it, had some fun. Any questions, team? Are we all good? Everyone's all happy, satisfied? Yeah. So I think we are sort of getting there. But I mean, fantastic wines. I mean, it really is just a great combination. So get your Friars Cove, get food from your local Pick n Pay, eat, drink, be merry, and, organize some great company. Yeah. Liza, any parting words from Friars Cove?
No, just thank you very much for having me here, and please come and visit Friars Cove. It's quite something to experience.
Well, there you have it. Everybody from the Pick n Pay Wine Club, Pick n Pay, Friars Cove, the team, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been fantastic to see everybody hustling around in the kitchens and doing their little bits and pieces. And it was fun to have something that sort of came at a crazy time of how it all came out together as well. So yeah, please don't forget our next and last one of the year, I take it, for the Pick n Pay Winemakers Table, which will be happening on the 7th of December. We look forward to having you then and hosting you for the last and final hurrah of the evening. But from Pick n Pay Winemakers Table, myself, Tjaart, Liza, thanks everybody, and good night. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.